In order to more efficiently manage any questions you may have for Moataz El-Menshawy, we will be using a program called Slido. We are inserting the link for Slido here in the chat. And if you want to submit a question, simply type it in the question field at the top of the screen. And if you want your name to show, type it in the field directly below before submitting your question. If you would prefer to remain anonymous, you don't enter your name in the name field. At the end of the presentation, during the Q&A session, I will share my screen and Moataz will go over your questions. If you would like a question, or if your question has already been asked, you can click on the thumbs up icon to the right of the question, and the question will be prioritized. Also, if you have any technical Zoom problem, please send a direct private message to me, ASQ volunteer Daniela, and in the Zoom chat privately so I can assist you. I will now hand it over to this session's moderator, Mary.
Hello, everyone. My name's Mary Duffy. I'm on the ASQ Vancouver SLC, and I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. Moataz El-Menshawy is a longtime friend and ASQ colleague of mine, and I'm always delighted to listen to his talks. Moataz is no stranger to quality, has over 20 years experience in quality from the general manufacturing end right through to quality and consulting. And he's a professional engineer by training, has experience and training in product management, but he's really a very passionate teacher, teaches quite a few courses for ASQ Vancouver. He also teaches at BCIT. So he always has something interesting to say, and his topic today is perhaps, time to change is a very powerful thing to think about that. So without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Moataz.
Thank you, Mary, and hello, everyone. It's always nice to be with you here. Always good. Let me share my screen. And all right. Okay. So we'll start here with our topic today. So thank you, everyone, and thank you really for ASQ Vancouver for giving me the chance to talk here. It's always good to be with you here, sharing the ideas and information. This will be actually my third time to speak to this conference, so it's always very good. Going quickly into my conversation here. This is just a casual conversation with you guys. Nothing really here more to teach you or to give you more information. I guess most of you are in the pandemic time are witnessing lots of things. Some of you are looking at it as bad, or some of you are looking at it as good, which always led me to think of the question about the change. I've been thinking about this for quite some time, even before the pandemic. This is when the Industry 4.0 and the Quality 4.0 started. There was always challenges, but what added more to this is the pandemic. So is this really the time to change? Is it to change because of the pandemic, or is it to change because of the Quality 4.0? This is what we are going here to discuss together. And I'm just glad to share my own observation. You can take it this way. And thank you, Mary, for your introduction. So my agenda here, as you can see, I'm just going to take you in like the flow of my presentation. I'm going to introduce quickly the Industry 4.0 and Quality 4.0. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I know the majority of you by now have already an idea of what do they mean. Then I will go quickly into the pandemic. I'm not going to talk about the pandemic here. I'm not a specialist in that case, but what I will give you here is what the pandemic has affected, or what are the impacts of the pandemic, and what that added to the challenge. Then after that, I will take you through my observations. These observations, by the way, these are my own observations through my readings, through the articles, the webinars, the things, as I'm really interested in the Industry 4.0 and the Quality 4.0, but I will only here mention the positive impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And what does that mean to individuals and to organizations? Then I will give you a solution, or like in my humble opinion, this is what I see it as a roadmap for professionals and for organizations to move forward, not just only as a reaction to the pandemic, but the way of doing business, the modern way, I call it, in doing business moving forward. So my objectives, I have 3 objectives of the presentation today. These are the 3 takeaways for you guys here. Number 1, I want to give you an idea of what are the current challenges that are facing organizations and professionals. And I'm more here giving more in particular to the quality professionals, because this is where I really belong. Then in the second objective here, I want to give you my thoughts on my observation of what I've seen, all of the positive impacts of the COVID on the industry, how the COVID has accelerated and acted as a good catalyst to modernize the way companies are doing business. Then the third objective is to propose a roadmap that would help organizations and individuals to use this opportunity as a catalyst, not just only as a reaction, as I mentioned, to the pandemic, but even as a way of doing business moving forward. So quickly, the Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0, as many of you know, it's linked by industrial revolutions. As you can see in front of you here, by the end of 1700, that marked the first industrial revolution. What was it? That was the use of water and steam to mechanize the production. And that was the invention of the steam engine at that time. Then towards the late 1800, the use of electricity and the electric energy, that's what created the mass production. And this is where we started to see the big factories and the assembly lines. Then between 1960s and 1970s, at that time, that was the use of the electronics and the information technology in order to automate the production. That was characterized by the use of the PLCs and robots to automate the production systems. Then at the beginning of the 2000 came the digitalization or digitization. And this is what we are here right now. This is the big data, the data analytics, the machine learning, the industrial Internet of Things, and what have you. So what is the Industry 4.0? If you want to look at the Industry 4.0, as you can see here, it's the integration of the traditional manufacturing systems or the production processes with the connectivity and the digital platforms. So if you just want to, in a nutshell, characterize it like this. So it's the connection, the connected devices by use of sensors. It's using the cloud storage. It's the use of artificial intelligence. It's the use of the Internet of Things and the industrial Internet of Things. It's about collaborative robotics. It's the machine learning. It's the use of the big data. It's the additive manufacturing, and it's the renewable energy. These are all the characteristics in the Industry 4.0, which is the umbrella that links the human-led transactions or processes and the technology that characterized by the Internet of Things and the Internet connections and the use of the automation and robotics. That was the Industry 4.0. So how about the Quality 4.0? Quality 4.0, it came to life actually around, I would say like around 2015, when quality professionals that came together after a few years of the Industry 4.0 came to life. And they said that we need to do something, that we need to modernize, or we need to bring the quality into the new definition in order to understand how the effects of the Industry 4.0, the new technological advancement and the digital transformation on the companies and on personnel. So they came with the idea of the Quality 4.0, which is, by the way, it's not replacing any of the traditional quality methods and techniques that we all aware of and we all know. It's just like working on improving them, and is using this technology, which what we talked about, in order to improve the culture, the compliance, the collaboration, the competency, the connection, and the leadership. So that was from the organizational side about the Industry 4.0 and the Quality 4.0. There is another thing, which is adding a little bit of the challenge from a professional or from an individual perspective. In a report in 2018 by the World Economic Forum, the Future of Jobs report for 2018, they looked at the number of the total task hours performed by humans versus the total task hours performed by the machines. So in 2018, there was 71% of the total task hours performed by humans. This, they are anticipating this to drop down by 18% to 58 of the task hours performed by humans. So there is an 18% decrease. In contrast to that, 29% of the total task hours that performed by machines, they are expecting this to go up by 49%. So as you can see here, there is a challenge, and the people are feeling the heat here of there will be jobs will be taken from us. We will be dated with our information. We need to change the way we do things. There is no place for us in the new automated or the new automation. If you look at the same report here, if you focus on the new roles, that forget about the redundant roles and the stable roles. But if you look at the new roles here, I have selected some jobs of what the report is predicting will be the dominating jobs moving forward. Data analytics or data analysts and data scientists, artificial intelligence and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital transformation specialists, process automation specialists, innovation professionals. These are the new jobs that they were predicting that they will dominate the market moving forward. And I've selecting these ones with the arrows. I feel they are more related to the quality professionals. If you are a quality professional, there are high chances that if you want to focus on jobs like these, you will perform because your experience with the data and the analytics and the statistics and all of these things that the professionals, the quality professionals are good at. Then comes the pandemic. So at the beginning of 2020, we saw the new changes came to life here. We saw major disruptions to our life on both the short term and the long term. All of you have witnessed people have been sent home to work remotely, completely disconnected from their cultures and their workplaces, trying to figure out how to do things with no disruption to work whatsoever. There are people have been sent home indefinitely, have been laid off. There are new trends that came underway with the COVID. Things are more related to remote doing whatever. So it's remote payment, remote connections, remote everything, which led to some industries have been or accelerated the way they do business by doing digital transformation and adopting the automations. We saw that some increase for specific jobs, demand for contractors and what we call them like gig workers. There was a greater demand for specific jobs for healthcare, people with the know-how in cybersecurity and the data analytics. With regards to adopting the digitization and the automation technologies here, because of the restrictions of travels and the social distancing that are put in place as orders by many companies and many countries, there were changes in the human behavior of doing things remotely, not having people interacting together and socially distanced. This accelerated a lot the digital transformation and the move towards the digital transformation. There was increased in the digitization of customer channels. There was increased in the digitization of the supply chain. These were all COVID facts that we've witnessed between, I would say, February or March this year up to this point of time, since we still live in the pandemic. So what is the challenge? The challenge here is for individuals that they are feeling the heat since they started learning about the Industry 4.0 and the Quality 4.0, that they need to upgrade and update their I would say their knowledge. We're talking about machine learning professionals, AI professionals, big data professionals, innovation and training. So there was a stress on people somehow in order to innovate and to upgrade their skills. From an organization side, organizations felt that it's important for them to invest into the automation and robotics and adding sensors on the machines. They need to invest in new technologies and new platforms for better connectivities with their customers and suppliers. Then for everyone came the COVID. So the challenge really here, what you can see here, companies and individuals pre-COVID time, which is this red arrow on the right, they need to invest in new technologies. They need to upgrade their skills. There are new positions are created. There are new technologies, as you can see. Then came the COVID, which is that arrow from the left, which added more stress because business, they have to stay running at the COVID. So people have to stay at home. You may not have all your workforce working. You need to stay compliant. You need to do the remote audits. There are lots of emotional stresses on the employees that needs to be dealt with. There are frequent changes in customer orders that added stress. There are people working from home, away from the workforce, away from their organizations or from the workplace. So this is really the challenge, what we do. Like, there was a challenge before the pandemic, and there is a challenge now after the pandemic. So with that said, it's not really as black as you can see from the challenge here. There are good things that happen, and I would like to take the pandemic to show you how good it was in accelerating the move or the race towards the digital transformation that actually started the pre-COVID time. And these are my positive things that I saw from the pandemic. Remote work. We all see the remote work. Before the pandemic, all organizations were reluctant to send people to work from home. There was fears of losing the corporate culture, or people will not be performing well, or they are going to waste their time working from home. But look what happened. Just right when the pandemic hit and the orders have put in place for the social gatherings and social distancing and restrictions on travels, millions and millions of workforce have been sent home armed with laptops and cell phones and whatever digital technology gadgets that you can think of, so that to keep them running right away on the spot. Unfortunately, this is not the case for everyone. As you can see here, remote work is here to stay, not for everyone, not for every workday. There are some people that would have to be physically present at their work: construction workers, people working on production or assembly lines, people working in retails, where they have to meet customers, people working in healthcare systems. So that's the first thing for remote work, which is it really accelerated and changed the mind of companies so that it's really easy and you can do work remotely. The second thing here, if I want to go into the adoption of digitization and automation, and if I want to pick a couple of sectors here that I have been witnessing, these are really the leading sectors in fast transformation and adoption of moving to the new technology. I will take the financial sector and the information sector. 88% of the financial and insurance executives and 76% of the information and technology executives, they reported increase in the implementation of the automation since the pandemic. These, by the way, were the leaders before, but things accelerated fast. So the things that were used to take like months and years to change, it was just happening within weeks time frame since the pandemic started. And as you can see, the coronavirus made advantages of the digital payments and other machine-powered activities. For example, here, between April and May this year, at the beginning of the pandemic, the downloads of some person-to-person payment apps like Venmo increased between 16.5 to 20.1%, which would give you an idea about the transformation of doing everything remotely. This will even take us to the idea here of, as you can see, more and more things are happening remotely right now. People started learning about it, they experienced it, and they will enjoy it. Most likely, they will not go back to the traditional way, let's say for doing banking, for example, just as to say, what does that mean? Think about it. We may not need all of those people at the tellers. I may not need all of these branches open because people got used to do things remotely right now, everything with their mobile phones. If I want to go specific about the Industry 4.0 and how is that helping actually during the outbreak, if I want to be specific, if you want to take a look at one of the technologies, the Internet of Things, you saw the drones, how they have been used in the surveillance, just ensuring the quarantines and mask wearing orders. They helped actually the decision makers and the policy makers and the healthcare in just searching for patient zeros and in even identifying the people that are coming in contact with someone who is having a coronavirus or like the COVID patients. They helped the healthcare professionals doing the remote monitoring for the person that are doing in-home recoveries. If I want to take a look at the big data and the analytics, we all saw how important was that, and I'm sure lots of you were actually logging on a daily basis and Googling the COVID meter and the many other websites to see what was the hit and what was the impact of the COVID day by day and even hour by hour. So the big data was available at the time. It was a real time that is sent to the policymakers and the healthcare professionals and the epidemiologists in order to help them to take decisions. We also saw how the big data and the data analytics was helpful even for us as just the people that looking at what's the impact of COVID, what are the countries that are mostly hit, what are the death rate every day. There are lots of graphs and you can see it from any angle that you want. So the COVID-19 trackers were collecting real-time data from sources around the world, sending them right away to the decision makers in order to make decisions. Virtual reality, for example, how that helped during the outbreak for the COVID. We saw the video calls and the video conferencing, how that surged during that time. And my own observation, this is a good thing to happen, but there is something also you can add to this, which in my opinion, these video calls and video conferencing, it helped a lot, helping people from a social and an emotional perspective. People are staying home, they haven't been to their workplaces, they are completely disconnected from the rest of their co-workers. With things like this, you can still feel that you are emotionally and socially connected to your old life. It improved the efficiency. It improved the communication and the collaboration so that you're not completely isolated in your home or wherever you're doing your remote work. The autonomous robots, for example, we saw the police robots that have been deployed during the lockdown in order to ensure the lockdown measures and people obeying the orders. What you see here in front of you, these nice looking robots here, they are using the UV radiation. These have been made by a Danish company and they have been actually used in Wuhan. They are used in the sterilization and the cleaning of the hospitals. So unlike the old traditional way for humans that are actually wiping and mopping the floors and things like that, which number one is not safe for them, number two is too slow. So they need something more accurate, more faster. So that was one of the advances of using the robots. This is just only in one area, let alone that the 5G powered medical robots that are performing surgeries, which is, we are going to talk about the importance of the 5G. One example here, and this is a real life example that I've attended a webinar recently, and I would like to share this success story with you that happened in the UK and called Ventilator Challenge UK. When the order was given from the Prime Minister office in order for them to accelerate the ventilators, because there was people were desperately need for more ventilators. So there was a consortium from many companies, and these companies, as you can see, they are aerospace companies, automotive companies, racing companies, things like that. They have never been into the medical industry before. The Penlon ESO 2 ventilator, which is what you see here in the photo, that was the selected device. So we're talking about 700 parts in every device. There was a 450 engineering changes, more than 300 deviations that need to be approved in less than 24 hours, 356 procured items from 88 suppliers in 10 countries in 4 weeks time frame, 30 pages of signed off testing and inspection documents for each device that they have to be completed. Those people in the consortium, they are not into the medical industry. So these are people where 9000, ISO 9001 or IATF 16949 for the automotive or AS 9100 for the aerospace, they have to go to the ISO 13485. So that was the challenge. And this is just to give you an idea how the pandemic helped to make something possible in a very challenging way like this. You're talking about lots of companies have no relation to each others. Each one of them have their own platform, having their own ERP system. They need to be connected together. You're talking about people on assembly line that cannot travel, cannot socially meet in order to learn, someone will have to use the augmented reality and virtual reality in order to teach them. So they teamed up with Microsoft to use their HoloLens as the hardware, and they needed to also to create the new software so that they can transfer the content from the experts that are sitting in one area to people in different assembly lines in another area to learn how to assemble a ventilator, which most of them have never seen a ventilator before that time. So the use of artificial intelligence, the use of digital transformation, the use of virtual reality and augmented reality, the use of melting the different platforms together for easier connection between the suppliers and customers, that was a real success factor using the digital technologies. And as you can see here, these are the different countries, these are the different companies. You can see Airbus, you can see Ford Motor Company of UK, you can see like McLaren and Mercedes-Benz and Renault and Williams for Formula One racing. There are different companies, they have been all put together into this challenge. So having showed you what are the positive side of the pandemic, and having showed you that what was the challenge that people felt before the pandemic and after the pandemic, let's try to look for the solutions. And this is from my own opinion here. The solution is organizations need to accelerate fast towards the virtual workplace. We know that remote work is a fact, and it's actually going to continue after the COVID. It's not something going to disappear. Maybe some organizations will have to send their people back to work after the pandemic is gone, but it will be a new way of doing business. So we've seen that the existing factories and the process control systems, that those who really thrive during the pandemic, those who were able to transfer faster into the digital transformation. So there will be adopting the new virtual workplace faster. There will be use for integrated platforms in order to get data from different sources. This will be for a better decision. So instead of having different ERP systems and different, these systems will be going into one platform for high data analysis, high data transfer, and faster decision making. There will be more deployment of more IoT enabled sensors. So the sensors that will use the Internet of Things. So there will turning every device and even every component within a device into a data creator, so that to send, to transmit, and to receive data for real-time decision making. There will be an application of the sensor technology on the shop floors moving forward. The integration of the data from the sensors, if you can take the data from the machines and even integrate this with the engineering systems, project management systems, and the quality systems for faster decision making. Now executives and specialists will be staying at home or wherever, and they will have real-time access to what's going on. All of the sensors on the machine will send them data. They will even alert them if there is any problem happening, so they can go and log in and look at the problem real time. And with the use of the augmented reality and the virtual reality, they can even dispatch some people to work remotely and show them how to do the work or how to do the repair. As I mentioned, the video conferencing and video call and the use of the virtual reality and augmented reality, because of the social distancing and then the restrictions on travels, this will be the way to conduct the business. Imagine that you can do a real-time inspection, virtual inspection on machines. So someone will be on the factory floor, another specialist will be staying at home, and he or she will be directing that person to perform whatever is needed. Imagine that you are an organization and maybe 1/3 of your people are only working on the company and the other 2/3 are working on home because of social distance measures. So that means that with the use of these systems, that the work can go in a very easy way with less interruption. The remote video monitoring, you can do inspection, you can even do remote audits. I personally, since the COVID time, I have been into 4 audits. 3 of them were completely virtual audits. using the video conferencing and the data sharing. So this is a fact of life. And given the fact that the 5G wireless networks, that with the ability to stream videos for quicker analysis, as you can see, the difference here between the 5G and the 4G is that the 5G has like 10 times more bandwidth than the 4G. So it makes it easier and faster to send lots of information into a local cloud point that where people can log in and can get faster decisions right away. How about the human factors? How about the people themselves? What is going to happen to them? Companies will have to reflect and look at the COVID time. What went right, what went wrong? What can we take as a learning thing from the COVID? There will have to be more focus on the physical and psychological and the financial concerns of the workforce. Leadership will have to give clear direction to the workforce about the new routines of doing business, the new priorities, the new technologies that are used. There will be more training and training and training. I cannot stress more on the training. There is no better time than this time to perform the training. Some companies or some organizations, some leadership people will argue and say, hey, what are you talking about? We can just barely keep our payrolls and paying people and not sending them home. But you know what? Don't take money away from the budgets that have been allocated to training. People are in desperate need to upgrade their skills and to understand the new technologies and to get emotionally and socially connected and more in like prepared to do the business in the new way. Maybe the technical colleges and continuing education programs out there, maybe there will be a new way or new programs to be added to the curriculums. So we'll come to this. So the conclusion at the end, and I'm just watching my time here, I don't want to get beyond the 30 minutes here, which I think I'm okay. So there will be increased reliance on the remote working. As I mentioned, some work is here to stay, not for everyone, not for every workday. There will be more investment needed towards greater digitization and automation from company, more demand for independent contractors with specific and special know-how in specific areas, as I mentioned, in cybersecurities, in digital transformation, in healthcare. There will be more leaning towards digital platforms to conduct trainings, audits, meetings, use of augmented reality and virtual reality hardware and software. So digital adoption is a key to the agility. And the 5G networks will be deployed more for real-time remote work. The low latency, the high speed, high capacity of 5G network will make this happen. And the industrial Internet of Things and the Internet of Things will be the way to go. And it will be completely dependent on how fast and how reliable the 5G networks moving forward. Thanks to COVID-19 pandemic, the medical industry now will grow more in adopting the digital technologies to create like a smart healthcare system. What does that mean for professionals? Hey, there is a need for you. If you have the ability to change and to learn something, there will be some work for you in this area. What does it mean to organizations? More investment towards this and for those who are able to be contracted to build the digital transformation for the healthcare industry. At the end, I'd like to share in this slide here, these are the information sources that I used in order to get these slides for you. So if you're more interested in reading more, feel free. These were all the sources that I used. And at the end, I would like to thank our sponsors for this wonderful event. Would have loved more that to see you guys face to face, but it's part of the reality that we are living in right now. And thank you very much, and I will open the door right now for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Moataz. So it was a very interesting, interesting discussion. It takes work to the old adage of there's every cloud has a silver lining. So this is so I think we'll bring up the questions and see what we've got. First question: is it possible to get a copy of your slides?
Definitely. I think this is something. It's okay. It's I think that the conference. Are you guys, Mary and Natella? Are you guys make it okay for people? From my side, I'm fine with that.
Okay, that sounds great. Yes, we'll be able to do that. Next question. Do you see artificial intelligence replacing business analysts in the future?
I don't think so, because we still need the business analysts. So I think we still need the humans. By the way, what I've just mentioned here by the new technologies, I don't want people to have the fear from this, because we still need people with know-how. I think what I need to mention here is there will be a shift in the skills that will be needed. So having machines and robots on the shop floor does not mean that the people will be wiped out. We are still need to work, but I think it will be shifting somehow.
Yeah, there's a follow-up question right along that line, because someone is asking, well, okay, robots are taking our jobs. Which sectors will people be working in more?
Okay. Like, I'm not really expert in about in the jobs and stuff like that, but what I can see from my own observation is that there will be need for specific skills moving forward. For example, that if I'm going to put sensors on the machine and having sensors to transmit and receive data, stuff like that, still at the end, there is a human being at the other end will need to get this information in order to intervene and to make faster decisions. So there will be people that still need to do the job. There will be people like artificial intelligence specialists and people like that will need to deal with this kind of machine. But I don't think there will be a decrease in the number of workforce. If I have a factory or an organization that used to do work with, let's say, 100 people, I think the way with the digital transformation, only 20% or 25% of this workforce will be needed and the rest will be automated. So it's just the question of where to go next or how to upgrade your skills.
Yeah. Okay. There's another question. How do you think AI can help with data quality in the future?
The artificial intelligence with the data quality,
in the
future. What do you mean by data quality? So I can understand if I can answer the question in a different way. If, for example, that the quality of the data, if I look at the data right now, what we are currently using at what we call it the small data, but part of the industry 4.0 is the big data. So how is that going to help? For example, that if I need to do sampling, or if I need to do design of experiments, or if I need to do inferential statistics in order to understand what's going on samples and infer this back to the populations, with the availability of big data, I may not even need to do sampling or design of experiments moving forward, because the entire data would be available and actually the machines will be doing this exercise for me moving forward. But I am not sure about the link between the artificial intelligence and the data quality. And maybe Elena, if you can email me later on with exactly what do you mean by this, I would be happy to research it and answer your specific question.
Oh, thank you. That's very good. Yeah. The next question is about people have been reading books about the use of IA in supply chain Six Sigma employing 5G networks. What are your thoughts about that?
That's actually a good question, and this is something I myself am still reading and learning about it. And with specifically with supply chain, I'm not a supply chain expert, but I've read. I've been reading some articles and things like that about like the moving to the new technology with the supply chain, which is really, it's all about having better connectivity and having all different platforms between the suppliers and the customers for faster connectivity, with the use of AI, for example, that people would be able to virtually connect to their warehouses. There will be a better yard management, warehouse management, transportation management with the use of the AI technology, with the use of the platforms that connect people together. With regards to Six Sigma, I am not sure about that. I don't have enough information actually to tell you what is the effect of the AI on the Six Sigma with the 5G networks. I don't know that.
Elena's come back to us wanting to know when the recording is available. I don't know that. Sender will get the recordings out soon. I'm just not sure of the details. So in the interest of time, we'll move to the next question. What do you see as a realistic global deployment at the mass scale, especially true implementation of 4.0 at the shop floor in the SME sector?
The SME, I believe, if I'm correctly with this SME, so this is the small medium enterprise sector.
Right. Yes.
This is actually a very excellent question, and I've read a very recent article in the Quality Progress, that the latest one that came in, and they were talking about the supply chain. They were saying, and I'm not sure about the authenticity of this. I'm just telling you what I read. The author was saying that the total expenditure by the companies globally will hit the $2 trillion by 2021 in their investment towards the digital transformation. So you can see really the effect for this. So as I mentioned, and these are one of the positive things that I saw from the pandemic, is that it really accelerated this. What used to happen in months and years, it's now happening in weeks. We all see this. So there will be a big investment, but what is the realistic global deployment and on a mass scale? It's really hard to say it, but as I mentioned, like we're hitting the $2 trillion by the companies globally to hit this. Yeah.
The next question, I think you did touch on this, but it might be good to redo it.
Yes,
what do you think the future of HR professionals in Industry 4.0?
There will be lots of need for the HR, because this is really where people need to upgrade their skills. And this is really what the HR role will help in order to work with the leadership, in order to understand what are the needs, what are the technology needs that needs to be deployed, and what are the training courses. And as I mentioned, working in the industry, for myself, working in the industry and teaching and doing some consulting work on the side, it's really very important that when I look even at the programs that the continuing education programs and the colleges and universities are offering, I think there will be a very big need to adopt new, I would say, curriculums, adding things to the existing, I would say, programs that currently working. And so the HR professionals will play a key role in this. They will actually play a key role in getting the people out of the pandemic emotionally and socially safe, so that they could be prepared for what's coming next after that.
Yeah. Oh. And it looks, here's another question, probably close to your skills. How do we see the impact on project management? What skills or techniques do we need to manage new projects? Definitely, there will be lots of soft skills and hard skills are needed. Soft skills are still the same, like the leadership, the communication, everything that we tell the project managers to do. There is no doubt that these skills will still be needed. Maybe the new things like that is people will need to get trained on dealing with the new platforms and the digital technology. So there will be more reliance on like new platforms. For example, that as a project manager, you have a customer and you have suppliers at the end. So it's just a way of connectivity, how you deal with them quicker. And instead of using the old traditional ways, using the new platform for better connectivity. So yes, so the impact I would say would be similar to the impact for the quality professional, but maybe the project managers, they don't need to go into the technical details. They don't need, for example, to be like artificial intelligence specialists or things like that, but they will need to learn how to deal with the new digital platforms moving forward. Okay, and this looks like our last question. How do you think Industry 4.0 will affect occupational health and safety? That's a good question. I'm not really into the occupational health and safety, but what I can think of is you can do the occupational health and safety with the help of the augmented reality and virtual reality. Also the Internet of Things by using sensors on different machines, that there will be like a quicker data collection. So there will be an effect. How is that on the occupational health and safety? Not really into this area. Maybe I need to read more about it. I don't want to give any false
or any assumption from my own view.
Yeah, I thank you very much. I'm thinking in the interest of time, we won't be able to have the last question. Perhaps we can answer that later because we're coming up right to the end.
I will be happy to share my email with whoever wants to email me. I love that. Lots of people, even if you ask me a question that I really don't know the answer, I would be happy to go and even search it for myself and get back to you guys. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And I must take the opportunity to thank Moataz for a very stimulating presentation and lots to think about. And ASQ Vancouver would like to thank you, and we'll be sending you a token of our appreciation. I must also thank the audience for their participation. You've had lots of good questions and really makes the interaction much more energetic. So thanks a lot, and thanks to the Ascender people looking after the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for attending the session. We truly hope you enjoyed. We'd love to hear your feedback on this, so please take a minute to answer this brief poll. I just have some technical issues right now, so give me just a second, please. Sorry for that. We have technical problems with the poll, so I will just ask you and thank you for being here at the conference. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, I'm just trying to answer as much as I can for the people that are chatting here. It's just like moving very quickly. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm unable to put the poll for some reason, but I will put you the next session link that you can join us there to continue this wonderful conference day.
All right. So thank you, everyone. I'm just going to leave right now. All right. Thank you very much.
We will send for some other with some other method the poll for this session. Please keep that in mind.